Ohio has had its fair share of notorious serial killers throughout history. Here are 8 of the most prolific ones. Anthony Sowell, also known as the Cleveland Strangler. Sowell murdered at least 11 women and buried their remains in and around his home in Cleveland between 2007 and 2009. He was eventually caught after a victim escaped from his house and alerted the authorities. Donald Harvey, between 1977 and 1984, Harvey, who was working as a hospital orderly, killed at least 37 patients, most of whom were elderly or terminally ill. He would inject them with lethal doses of chemicals, such as insulin or drain cleaner, and then document their deaths as natural causes. Dubbed the Angel of Death, Harvey was a nurse who killed an estimated 87 patients, many of them by injecting them with lethal drugs, between 1970 and 1987. He was convicted of 37 murders and sentenced to life in prison. Jeffrey Dahmer, perhaps one of the most infamous serial killers in American history. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. He would lure his victims to his home in Ohio, where he would engage in necrophilia and cannibalism before eventually disposing of their bodies. He was eventually caught in Wisconsin and sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in prison. Arthur Shawcross, between 1987 and 1989, Shawcross murdered 12 women in Ohio and New York. He was originally convicted of 8 of those murders and sentenced to life in prison, but he was later paroled. In 1990, he moved to New York and killed for more women, bringing his total victim count to 12. Shawcross, also known as the Genesee River Killer, murdered 12 women between 1987 and 1990. He was initially convicted of 8 murders and sentenced to death, but his sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment without parole. Dennis Rader, known as the BTK Killer for bind, torture, kill, Rader murdered 10 people between 1974 and 1991 in the Wichita, Kansas area. However, 3 of those murders took place in Ohio. He was eventually caught through DNA evidence and sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms in prison. John Edward Robinson, known as the Santa Claus Killer. Robinson was a con artist who targeted women he met through online dating sites. He murdered at least 4 women between 1994 and 2000 and was eventually convicted of multiple counts of murder, kidnapping, and fraud. These are just a few of the notorious serial killers who have terrorized Ohio over the years. Their chilling crimes have left a lasting impact on the state and the nation as a whole.